For centuries, it was the human rights of women, not the womanhood rights of women. Actually, on the other side, they told women, you just be feminine, you have no other rights. The human rights of women had been oppressed. And that wasn't intentional either. It was just the course of human history. It was the flow of history. Then this came along and said, all right, we've realized it now. Now we've realized that from here on out, men and women have equal human rights, and they should have them. But if we want to create a rebound and have that compressed spring snap back so hard that it flies, say, 10 meters the other way, well, that has consequences. It has side effects. One of the most significant results from our research was the finding that, throughout the 1950s, 60s, and 70s, and especially from 1970 onwards, the frequency and intensity of conflicts within families escalated quite dramatically. It really marked a notable shift in domestic dynamics during those decades. Conflicts, especially between spouses, husbands, and wives, and between siblings, and the conflict between husbands and wives became such that, like the example I gave about wanting to swim against the current of a river, right? Where the arguments became prolonged, right? The ones I'm talking about are the ones that resulted from that severe rebound, not logical arguments, right? I don't mean that in those arguments, for instance, the gentleman or the man, let's say, was always in the right. No, no. Pardon me. We have both understanding men and understanding women. We have both unreasonable men and unreasonable women, right? Both of them are human, so in that regard, their characteristics are the same. Anyway, but those arguments and disputes that stemmed from this issue, or were the result of the psychological, intellectual, and cultural climate that was created in those decades due to the feminist movement, and it kept going. It wasn't just the 70s, the 80s, the 90s. From 2000 onwards, it caused men to stop engaging in arguments. Many of them, not all. They just don't have the patience. They say, man, forget it. Let's just split up. Okay. Then separations increased. Separations increased, the statistics went up, and the number of single moms grew. We really need to talk about single mothers and just how much pressure was, and still is, being put on these single moms. It's a heavy burden for them to carry. We've seen and continue to see this more in countries where this so-called feminism movement was more pro-propaganda, and then that man goes off. For example, an American man, a Canadian man, I don't know, a German man, and so on. He goes and marries, say, a Filipino woman, a Chinese woman, a Vietnamese woman, an Arab woman, an Iranian woman, or a Turkish woman. Now, why is that? Because in those places, the feminist movement progressed slowly. Well, not feminism. Actually, it's better to say that the movement for women's rights, in many places, even in most Arab countries, they still haven't even been granted equal human rights, and that's not good. It needs to get there. But for example, in Iran, in Turkey, in many other countries, in China, and let's say, in South Korea. In short, what I mean is that in those countries, many countries have reached that point of equal rights for men and women. They've granted them. Some countries still haven't. Some countries still haven't granted them. But because it hasn't been an exaggerated situation, because it hasn't been extreme, Those women have a greater sense of adaptation, interaction, and balance with men for shared life. And the men in these countries on this side, like I said, like American, Canadian, I don't know, Western European men, have realized this. Even Eastern Europe. And these guys come and choose wives from countries where they basically say, ah, finally, I can breathe a sigh of relief. My mind is at ease. Now there's no more arguing, no nothing. Of course, that woman also has her rights. She has her human rights. It's not like she doesn't, and we just say, oh, the guy is happy, the man is happy. No, actually, it works out really, really well. Because he believes in her rights and respects them, and she also respects his rights. It becomes a balance. The best state is the point of balance in everything. Friends, when we look around at our communities here in the United States and across Canada, we often notice a significant number of white men who are in relationships with, let's say, wives who are from the Far East or who are otherwise non white. And quite frequently, these partners are actually their second wives, which is a dynamic we are seeing more and more of these days. Whether it's the second or third, and on the other hand, we see a lot of single moms. I really see this as one of the unfortunate side effects of that extreme conditioning of society's mind, specifically within women's society, over the past several decades, which has truly left its mark on us all. It's something that's deeply ingrained and quite difficult to ignore. Thank you for your attention.